My husband and I are in our mid-40s, married over 20 years, and have 3 beautiful children, all double digits. I do love my husband, but I don't know if I am physically attracted to him, not because of his looks, but of how he lives his life. My husband is a good man, treats me very well, and is an amazing father to our children. Physically, he is tall, broad shoulders, no skinny or athletic, but not obese. He's a big guy with a big beard, big arms, big hands. He is built like a linebacker. He can physically intimidate people with just his presence, although he never goes in to intentionally do that. He can control a room and has a very masculine job he excels at. However, the manliness ends there. This is why I may not be attracted to him anymore, if I ever was. He is not handy. It's not that he doesn't try to fix or do things around the house, but he cannot build anything. Anything he does fix never looks or works right. A lot of times we have to hire people to do fix or build things for us. He doesn't drink. He will go out once in a while and have a couple of beers, but he doesn't drink at home. My husband isn't into any manly stuff. He doesn't hunt or fish or do anything with automobiles and is not big into sports. He has taken the kids fishing and shooting just so they have the experience, but he does it just for them. He really doesn't have any hobbies. I begged him to take one up, so he started building Lego sets. He's in his 40s. He loves going to movies. He likes cooking. I never have to cook when he is home, and he does a lot of the house cleaning. I will give him this. He doesn't play video games or board games unless family time or do anime or any of that. He is not controlling in bed. Making love is okay, but I want him to take charge. I won't say anything about this to him. I wouldn't know where to start. I do love him. It's not that I want him to be a drunk or macho-aggressive jerk, but sometimes I just want a man to take charge and fix things and be a man. This is bad, I know. I feel bad saying it, just needed to say it. Update. I received a lot of hate for my thoughts and feelings. I realized when I wrote them and read comments about them that they come off as mean and cruel. I have no right to feel this way. The problem is that I do feel this way. I don't know how to change it. I thought about it for a few days and finally needed to take action because it was weighing on me so bad. I received some messages from people telling me to have a conversation with my husband. I decided to. I thought for quite a while about what I would say, how I would say it, and tried to think of questions or statements he would have that I thought about responses to. Last night we had the talk. Kids were at work and at friends' houses. We were sitting outside, enjoying the fresh evening air. I brought it up. In short, nothing went as expected, and I am as confused about my marriage than I ever was. I began by telling him that I love him. He is a great father in person. However, there were some feelings I could not shake, and there were some changes from him that I needed. I talked about his hobbies, changing it up a bit, working on our bedroom, what I wanted out of it. I explained in the most sensitive way that I could about how I feel about his personality and overall measure as a man. I did not use those exact words. I was more gentle. However, in order to move forward with our marriage, I felt I needed to be honest. I did tell him that I wanted honesty from him as well, and wanted him to tell me what I could do to be a better wife. I know I cannot ask him to change without having some myself. I never expected his reaction. He literally just stared at me, said nothing. Emotionless reaction. No anger, sadness, acceptance, nothing. Just stared. I said everything I wanted to say. I was looking for a response. I got none. After sitting in silence for a while, waiting for some reaction or words, I just yelled at him to say something. At least tell me what I need to work on. The only thing he said to me last night was, "I knew who you were when I married you. I am not going to ask you to change anything." That's it. We sat in silence for at least an hour after that. Our oldest then came home from work, and he went to talk to him for a while, not about our conversation, but how work went and stuff. My husband did not sleep in bed last night. He slept on the basement couch. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. I do feel better about telling him how I felt, but not as great as I thought. I really do not know how to feel. Maybe that's a sign my marriage is over? I can't feel anything about it. I should be happy I said it, sad he won't talk to me, angry for no response, but I have nothing. I guess I'll give it some time for both of us to process. Update. My last update, I laid out what happened while talking to my husband. He spent that night and last night on the couch downstairs, sleeping. We haven't talked about our conversation. He has talked to me, but not about that, and the talks we have are short. We have had our kids around all weekend, so I never have gotten the opportunity to sit down with him, and with him sleeping downstairs, I figured to just give him some space. I don't know how to proceed. I have talked with a coworker about this, just to get advice, since I needed someone in my life to talk to. He advised me to give it a bit of time, to let my husband talk to me, but if there's no change offered by him, then it may be time to tell him that we need to separate. I don't want to do that, but it may come to that. I want him to see where I am coming from, and I want him to tell me what I can do to change. That is where we are at. No real big update, but I will give him until the end of the week. If he doesn't initiate anything, I will. Edit. Okay, I had to edit this post because there have been some comments about my coworker. I had these feelings about my husband before I talked with my coworker. We are not having an affair. We are not doing anything inappropriate. He is giving me some guidance because he is a man, and I figured he could help. Nothing more than that. Also, please stop calling me a pause because I have these feelings and am trying to navigate them with my husband. I cannot help my feelings any more than you can help yours. Think about that. Think about an off feeling you had and wish you didn't have. It's happened to everyone, including you. So please stop. Update 3. I am not having an affair with my coworker. I went to him after I was having these feelings about my husband. For advice only. There is no emotional or physical affair going on. I go to him for advice, he gives it, and I either take it or I don't. He is not pushing me to do anything. It's just his advice. I literally have no other friends or family in this area, or I would have gone to them. Also, these are my feelings about my husband. I have tried very hard not to feel this way, but can't stop. I don't know how many of the angels and pure people on this app are able to control their feelings so well, but you obviously are better than I am. None of you have ever had feelings you couldn't shake or feel bad about. If you say you have, you are a liar. I posted on my feelings because I am genuinely confused, scared, and don't know what to do. I feel that you guys just bash but provide no answers. There have been some of you that have been beautiful and helpful, send me DMs, and I thank you for that. The rest of you in the comments, think before you post. If you don't want to provide sound advice, please just move on. Final update. I am not going to post on this anymore. What happens between my husband and I will remain between us. This was the stupidest decision, posting on here and then continuing to post on here. I am not cheating on my husband. It's a coworker. We have talked a few times about it. We only have texted a couple of times. We don't talk about feelings for one another. Just someone I asked for a little guidance from, and he was nice enough to give it. Yes, my husband is a good man. No, I am not a piece of crap for having the feelings I do. I stand by talking to him about my feelings, because that is what people do in a marriage. If my marriage is over because he cannot accept what I have to say or change the small things I want him to change, then so be it. But I am done posting. Thank you to the people of Reddit for absolutely nothing. Top comments. This sounds like classic boredom. Things are so good, she's looking for things to be annoyed at, and projecting the general feeling of malaise onto him. Maybe she needs hobbies or more in her life, so she's less focused on nitpicking her husband for no reason. And it's definitely for no reason, because she herself gives examples of him doing exactly what she's after, but she either devalues or criticizes it, pinpointing precisely that the problem is with Herbs. Give him to me. I want a man like that. That is manly to me. Everything about him sounds manly AF. Tall and bearded with a commanding presence? That's pretty manly. Manly job? Obviously manly. Confidence to pursue hobbies other people might make fun of him for? Very manly. Doesn't feel insecure enough to constantly try to show everyone how manly he is? Extremely manly. He even has the shutting down and not talking about his feelings when women say really dumb and hurtful crap to him about things going on. Using a throwaway just for privacy reasons. Sorry if this gets long at all. My sister is a lesbian and married her wife a year ago. They receive financial support from my parents, They're wealthy and generous, have good jobs, and as such, have decided to have a baby. Currently, her wife is about 6 months pregnant, and the two of them are visiting for holidays. I'm in college, so I don't see them very often. Yes, my parents give me financial support as well. Everything is fair and square, but I'm really excited for their baby. My sister and her wife had been dating since their senior year of college and were friends since childhood before that. I'm 7 years younger, so I was kind of left out of the loop. I never knew my sister's wife until they got married, and even then, I was swamped with my first year of college, so I didn't really ever get to know her. I was really excited, though, for this trip, since we'd get some one-on-one time together. Our parents live about 2 hours away from my sister and her wife, and I flew in from across the country. We're all staying with our parents, who are not yet retired. My flight got in yesterday late at night, so I slept in. My parents went to work, and my sister went shopping. My sister-in-law stayed in with me, but I didn't realize she was around until she came downstairs while I was making lunch. She's pretty obviously pregnant, and I haven't seen her since her wedding, so I was really excited to see her. She was not. I said hi and went to hug her, and she backed away. I apologized, and she just kind of looked at me weird and went looking through the fridge. I tried to make small talk with her, so I asked when she was due. She gave me a really weird look, like I'd asked what her cup size was, and then just said March and kept making her food. I said I was really excited to have a niece or nephew, then asked if she wanted a boy or girl. She sighed really loudly, said she didn't care, and moved on. My sister had mentioned that her wife had PTSD due to a previous pregnancy, so I worried that might have been it. I tried to shift the subject and asked how her work was. She set her knife down really loudly, stared at me for 30 seconds, then said, "Fine," and went into the dining room without saying anything else. Throughout the day, I kept just trying to interact with her. Offered to get her a drink while I was in the room, she just muttered no, asked what she was watching. You wouldn't know it. It was The Simpsons, said I was really glad she was spending the holidays with us. A very begrudging, yeah. Really, I thought this must just be how she is. Then, my parents and sister came home, and she was super cheery and nice to them. My dad was asking if they had names picked out, and she just wouldn't stop chattering on. My sister said she wanted a family name, and her wife insisted on a unique name. My mom pointed out that my name, Anais, isn't very common, but it's also a family name, same as my grandmother, and they should consider it. I said I wouldn't mind having a niece with my same name, and my sister was really enthusiastic about it. Her wife gave me a death glare. I just ended up getting the silent treatment. At dinner, I asked if she would pass the potatoes, and she didn't listen. I repeated myself, she ignored me, and then my sister told her I had asked for her to pass the potatoes. Suddenly, she was all bubbly and giggling. Guess I didn't hear. What should I do? Should I tell my sister? Directly challenge her? I have very positive relationships with my parents and my sister, and I want to be really involved with my niece-nephew, so I really don't want to go 100% no contact or anything. How can I try to resolve, or at least get over this? Update. As of this morning. So, we all had breakfast together. I sat across from my sister, between my parents, with my sister-in-law kitty-corner to me. My sister-in-law actually spoke to me, but it wasn't all that positive. She asked if I was seeing anyone in kind of a snarky tone. I said no, school was really busy, I just didn't have time, etc. She responded, well, not everyone finds someone. My sister tried changing the subject, asking my parents whether or not they'd gone to their winter home yet. They're those rich people. My sister-in-law was so nice to them. She was saying what a gorgeous house it is, how grateful she was to have been able to take a vacation there with my sister last month. My mom is easily flattered, so once my sister-in-law got started, she started gushing about her, and it was just a mush fest. After breakfast, I offered to go take our dogs for a walk. When I came back, my parents had left with my sister to go shopping again, and my sister-in-law was the only one home. She asked me how I was liking college, and I said I was liking it a lot. I major in pre-dental, started talking about it a bit, and she rolled her eyes. I apologized for oversharing, and she said, no, it's fine. You just have a problem with reading the room, I guess. Then, She walked away. When my sister comes home, I'm definitely going to tell her about it. Original poster clarified why sister-in-law may not like her. There was one thing I might be able to think of in terms of her wedding. It was initially scheduled on the day of my finals. This was prior to invitations being produced mailed. Just their idea. So I called my sister to tell her I either wouldn't make it or the date would have to be changed. She was really upset about it because she and her wife had wanted a winter wedding. The date seemed perfect for them, etc. I said they didn't have to sacrifice the winter aspect, just maybe move it a day back. There was a kind of big fight, and I can assume my sister-in-law got in on it. But my sister is the kind of person who likes to be liked. Think of her as a human golden retriever, and she didn't want to be mad at me. So, we worked through it. Her wedding ended up being the day after my finals, which I was grateful for, and there's been no resentment or hard feelings since. My sister actually laughs at herself for being kind of an ass. Her choice quote from that time was, "You just don't have to go. It's just a test." I was my sister's maid of honor, and I didn't see much of my sister-in-law prior to the wedding. She'd gotten food poisoning from her bachelorette party, so she was kind of holed up for the majority of the pre-wedding hubbub. During the reception, I made a toast, talked about my sister and her wife's friendship, how we've just been waiting for the two of them to get married, they're a match made in heaven, etc., etc. She teared up, gave me a big hug, and said she was excited to be my sister-in-law. I wanted to talk more with her, but some relatives wanted to ask me why I chose the college I did, so I went to go talk to them. I'm probably going to bring this up with my sister, either today or tomorrow. It all depends on what my sister-in-law is up to. In the comment section, someone asked, "Why did you keep mentioning how rich your parents are? You come off as superficial, the sister-in-law stuff aside." Original poster replied, "I felt like the financial aspect was fairly important to mention. There is a level of attachment that my sister has to my parents due to their money. She's a really nice person. I wouldn't consider her superficial, but she does maintain the expectations of my parents partially because they give her money. Some people have drawn the gold digger connection, and while I didn't initially, I felt it was important to include because of that bond. The second home thing is also more of that bond between my sister, sister-in-law, and my parents. She's really close with them. I should have mentioned it in my post, but my parents don't let me take guests to the winter home, even if I'm in a relationship with them. I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years now, and he's not allowed to go with me if I visit. Obviously, they're married, but even before they were allowed to stay there together. Sorry if it came off that way. My parents are the sort of nouveau riche people who made themselves rich and think that gives them more of a right to toss around their money. I probably inherited that trait to some degree. Sorry. Update. So, I didn't get the chance to talk to my sister. When my parents came back from shopping with my sister, my mom started saying how she had the perfect onesie for her granddaughter. Before my sister-in-law could start gushing, I asked what my mom meant. She asked if I hadn't heard I'd be having a niece, and I replied I hadn't. My sister said it was weird because she'd asked her wife to tell me once they'd gotten the ultrasound. Her wife had zero excuse and had the most deer-in-the-headlights reaction. There was something that just sort of snapped, and I started crying. I felt kind of spoiled and horrible for it, so I apologized and went upstairs with the dogs. My parents came upstairs, and my mom went to ask if I was okay, and my sister and her wife started shouting downstairs. My mom basically said that my sister-in-law does not like me and that it wasn't really my fault, she's just bad with people she doesn't know, and took it out on me inappropriately. And yes, my sister-in-law was still pissed about the wedding date thing, which just made it worse. I felt really shitty and just like really bad. Part of it wasn't my fault, but part of it was my fault. And apparently my sister knew about both issues beforehand and had given my sister-in-law directions to try and get along with me. They were still shouting downstairs, and I was kind of bordering on a meltdown, so I asked my mom if we could take the dogs for another walk. We went out the back, and when we came home, my sister had left the house to cool down, and her wife was upstairs. I spent most of the rest of the day downstairs until my sister came home. She had obviously been crying and was in a bad mood. My mom took her into the kitchen to try and calm her down, so I kept sitting in the living room. I felt like a bratty little kid again. Like I genuinely felt like I'd screwed up my sister's marriage and probably ruined our relationship in the process too. Everything just felt awful. And when my sister came out of the kitchen, she didn't even look at me, just went storming back upstairs. Her wife started yelling first, and they were fighting for a while before it got quieter upstairs. My mom, dad, and I went out for dinner, and when we came home, my sister-in-law was waiting for us. My sister-in-law apologized to me, saying she had been petty and rude, and that the wedding date thing had been a non-issue. I said it was okay if she was upset about the wedding thing, but I wish she had let me know. She said it wasn't that easy, since my sister would basically take a bullet for me, and it had caused them a big fight before their wedding. I said I had no idea, and that I was sorry to be the source of that tension, and I just wanted to be able to be a good sister-in-law myself and be a good aunt. My sister-in-law got angry and said I had ruined the opportunity for the first one, and she wasn't banking on the second one. Then she stormed upstairs, and she and my sister got into another big fight. I felt awful. The bad feelings manifested physically, and I spent most of the night throwing up while my sister and her wife fought. My mom was really kind to stay up with me, and my dad tried to get my sister and her wife to get off each other's backs. I specifically heard my sister-in-law shouting, "Who would you jump in front of a train for? Me or her?" And my sister responded, without missing a beat, "My sister, no questions asked." They got quieter after that, and my sister-in-law started screaming about an hour later, saying, "I'd let all my siblings die for you." My sister slept on the couch, and the two of us went out for breakfast in the morning. She basically said that after my sister-in-law gave birth, she and my sister were going to separate. They would try counseling prior to the birth and afterwards too, but if things weren't getting better, they'd be divorcing. I said that it shouldn't have gotten that far, and I was sorry for pushing both of them. My sister said that my sister-in-law does this to all my sister's friends, and they've been fighting often. But she clarified that the way she treated me was a deal breaker. She said it might have sounded sad, but I was her best friend from birth, and she wouldn't let me not feel welcome like that. I felt really guilty and started crying again. She kept saying she wanted it this way, their relationship was broken as is, etc. It's been tense and awkward ever since. My sister-in-law won't look at me or speak to me, and I've given up. My sister has been by my side a lot and has amped up the good sister behavior 10x. I feel like crap. Everything is really terrible, and I'm sure I'm going to be making another post during the actual Christmas crap. Not a great update, but there we are.